So today also I'm starting with this climate and communication. Very general topic will be there about the climate and what all things included in the climate we will study. So going to the climate topic, let me give the introduction first of all. So climate is a geographical concept which is composed of various factors such as heat, cold, air, rainfall, moisture, sky, altitude, dryness, radiation, that is solar radiation, electricity, ionization, and cosmic factors and radioactive conditions of the soil. The sea, desert, hills, mountains, forest, etc. also influences the climate. So here, climate will consist of various geographical factors. Here, geographical factors are geographical concept in the sense whatever things are present upon the earth. Geographically means upon the earth, whatever things included, that things will be calculated on that. So whatever things are present on the earth, that all will affect on the climate. So how whatever the temperature is there, whatever thing is there upon the earth, that will influence the climate also. In simple, climate is composed of all the geographical concepts, we can say. Okay, so there are some factors of climate affecting the health. So climate means whatever geographical factors are there, all those are included in the climate. Here we have studied some examples also like heat, cold, electricity, radiation, radioactive substances of the soil, uh, including the desert, hills, everything is included under the climate only. So here there are some factors which are affecting the health. Factors of climate that are affecting the health. So let us see what factors are there and how they are affecting on the health. So some of the factors of climate are like sunlight and external temperature and atmospheric pressure and also humidity and altitude. So these are all the factors of the climate. So here let us see first of all about the sunlight, how this sunlight is affecting on the health. Sunlight is essential to every individual. The sunlight produces vitamin D. It is essential for the bone growth and development. It prevents rickets. It maintains good health. Sunlight also releases the infrared rays and ultraviolet rays. So sunlight is very essential for the growth of the body. You all know for the bone reabsorption process, for the functioning of this calcium in our body, this vitamin D is very much essential. Especially this vitamin D is not obtained from the sunlight only, mostly. Instead of from the food particles, mostly this vitamin D can be obtained from the sunlight only. So that is how sunlight is one of the factor of the climate and it is useful for the health. And at the same time, some ultraviolet rays and infrared rays are also released by the sunlight, which are very harmful to the health. So this is how sunlight is a factor which is affecting the health of the individual. So that is one point. And the next point is external temperature variations. So here temperature variations in the sense we are having three seasons, right? Summer season is there, winter season is there, and rainy season is there. And according to the season, the temperature is also varying. Varying in the sense the temperature is like season-wise, the temperature is will also be very much different. So here you can see the disturbance in thermal equilibrium results in either high temperature or low temperature. So here, according to the season, either it may be very hot temperature or very cool temperature. We can see very hot temperature in the summer. The same way we can see the very cool temperature in the like low temperature in the winter. That is how the external temperature variations will affect on the health. The fluctuations in temperature may be influenced by various factors such as metabolic rate, air temperature, humidity, and radiant temperature. So based upon the temperature, there will be effect on the individual's health also. For example, let us say high temperature. So the amount of heat gained by the body must be equal by the amount of heat lost from the body. When there is decreased heat loss, then it results in high temperature. See, if within the environment, if high temperature is there, within the climate, if high temperature is there, then what will happen? Our body should have the mechanism to regulate the temperature. If it is not regulating the temperature, then what will happen? There will be effect on the health. So how the temperature is affecting on the health means, first of all, heat stroke. You all know if it is characterized by rise of body temperature to 110 degree Fahrenheit, that is 43.3 degrees Celsius. So if it is in the climate, the temperature is increased, means what is happening? Heat stroke. Heat stroke is getting. That is considered as, if one temperature is rising up to 110 degrees, then we will call it as heat stroke. And manifestations include dry and hot skin, cessation of sweating or absence of sweating. The recommended treatment for heat stroke are rapid cooling of body by ice water bath till the temperature falls below 1 or 2 degree Fahrenheit. Prompt bed rest is needed till the temperature becomes stable. So here, whenever the heat stroke is got, immediately we need to cool the body by some cool bathings, or by giving some cool bathings, or by maintaining the prompt temperature. And also we can give the bed rest to the client so that the temperature will calm down by giving proper ice water bath, and also by giving proper rest we can like reduce the temperature of the body. That is one of the treatment measure. And next one is hyperpyrexia. So next effect by temperature is hyperpyrexia. You all know increased body temperature. Whenever it is increasing above 99 degree Fahrenheit, then we are calling it as hyperpyrexia. It is due to impaired functioning of heat regulatory mechanism in the brain by the hypothalamus. So when this hyperpyrexia will occur, see, heat stroke will occur due to climatic changes, and here hyperpyrexia will occur due to when there is impaired functioning in the body. Like if hypothalamus of our body is not functioning, which is present in the brain, then we can get the hyperpyrexia, which is nothing but our body will not have the mechanism to regulate the temperature. At that time, we can see this hyperpyrexia. And next effect of temperature on the body is heat exhaustion. This heat exhaustion refers to slight elevation of body temperature than the normal. Like it does not exceed 1 or 2 degree Fahrenheit. The temperature will not exceed more than 1 or 2, but slight increase we can see. That is also one of the effect of temperature on the body. And the symptoms like dizziness, weakness are evident. Rarely, circulatory distress may occur. Primarily, the treatment is directed towards the fluids and electrolyte balance to correct the weakness and fluid loss and electrolyte loss. So, whenever this slight temperature is there, we will consider it as a heat exhaustion, and we will give continuous IV fluids in order to balance these fluids and electrolytes which have lost. And also we will by giving IV fluids, the weakness can be reduced. So this is how temperature will affect on the individual by hyperpyrexia, heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and one more thing is the heat cramps. So heat cramps is because of painful and spasmodic contractions of the skeletal muscles. Higher incidence is recorded in the persons with heavy muscular workload. Due to high muscular involvement, the sodium and chloride levels in the blood are reduced. So whenever the person is doing high muscular function, see, you can notice if any like some heavy liftings or some hard, high muscular activity work when the individual does, immediately there will be slight rise in the temperature. That is due to imbalance or involvement of this muscular involvement will be there, and the sodium and chloride levels in the muscle will fall down. Due to that, what will happen means there will be slight rise in the temperature, or which can also be called as heat cramps. So this is how we can see the effects of high temperature upon the body: heat stroke, hyperpyrexia, heat cramps. These can be seen. That is how the external temperature will affect on the body of the individual. Now, prevention of ill effects of high temperature. So, how this temperature effects can be prevented means the preventive measures will include, like first one is replacement of water. So, taking of like high quantity of fluids will maintain the body temperature, like more quantity of the cool water. And in India, on average, a heavy worker working in sun needs 1 liter of water per hour, and for a sedentary worker requires half of this quantity. Like who is working hard, they should take 1 per hour 1 liter of water, and those are like sedentary worker, they can take half than that, half to 1 ml of water quantity they can take, so that the replacement of water will be done and the temperature regulation will be done. That is one of the preventive measure. And regulation of the work. Intermittent resting between the intensive work reduces the duration of exposure to hot sun and environment. So those who are working in the hot sun continuously, they can take the rest for some time. So that intermittent exposure will give the short exposure will be there, so that temperature will be maintained in the body. And next thing is protection. So from sunlight, how we can protect? By clothing only. Light clothing with loose and light colors are preferable. Full covering clothes, full covering of clothes are worn in order to reduce the direct exposure to hot environment. This is the very general thing where everyone will do whenever they are going to the under the sunlight. They will wear the clothing which will cover all the body, so that exposure to hot environment will be prevented and temperature regulation will also be maintained in the body. And one more preventive measure is work area. The temperature in work environment is controlled by good ventilation and air conditioning. So wherever in the area they are working by some air conditioners, the temperature can be maintained, environmental temperature, so that that will not affect on the individual's temperature and individual's body. So these are some of the preventive measures of high temperature. So how high temperature is getting onto the body and how that high temperature is affecting on the body, and what are the preventive measures we have studied. All these points are included where? Under the climate, under the sunlight. Okay. Climate consists of all the geographical factors which are present on the earth, and sunlight is one of the factors. And sunlight, under the sunlight is high temperature we have studied. Getting my point? Everyone following me?
Yes,
Able to follow, right?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Now let us see the same way opposite to that, low temperature. See, whenever we are considering this climate, as I said, climate is the thing where we can see high temperature also, low temperature also. Up to now we have studied high temperature. What is the effect of that high temperature? Now we are studying about low temperature. How that low temperature is affecting on the individual. So when we go through this low temperature, effects of low temperature. So the temperature below 37 degrees Celsius is considered as hypothermia. So you all know the normal, below the normal temperature is considered as hypothermia. So how this low temperature will affect on the individual means, first one is hypothermia. This is characterized by cold and clammy skin, weakness, numbness, fatigue and loss of sensation, desiring warmth, and at the end coma and death also results. See, something very excess is also very dangerous to the body, and something very low is also very dangerous to the body. The same thing applicable to the temperature also. High temperature is also not bearable by our body. At the same time, low temperature is also not bearable by our body. If it is low temperature, what will happen? Weakness will be there, numbness will be there, and severe like fatigue will be taken place. And at last, loss of sensation and even coma and death also can be taken place. We can see due to this hypothermia. That is what about hypothermia. And next one is frostbite. See here, frostbite is a thing like our fingers and sinuses can be seen due to low temperature, and at last everything will be frozen. Okay, cyanosis means everyone is having idea, right? What is cyanosis? What is cyanosis?
Discoloration of the skin.
This bluish discoloration of the skin will be occurring due to the lack of oxygen supply. The same thing will happen in this frostbite. What will happen is due to this low temperature, like normal temperature won't be maintained in the blood as well as in the body also. Due to that, what will happen is total discoloration of the body can be taken place, especially in the fingertips and toes we can see. So that is called as frostbite. So the body temperature below freezing causes the freezing, dry and cold condition in the tissues and forming of ice crystals in between the cells. Understanding? Ice will be forming within our body. That condition we will call frostbite. So this is also one of the effect of low temperature. Okay. So what will happen is it is very common in people living at the high altitudes. So high altitude in the sense those are like very in the cold areas, they can face this frostbite. See, if the temperature is falling below freezing point and still the person is exposing continuously to the low temperature, then this frostbite attack will be occurred. So that is also one of the effect of low temperature on the individual's body. So what is the treatment of this frostbite means? Use of hot application. Immediately we need to do the hot application, like hot water bath to the affected part wherever this discoloration is occurring. Immediately we need to apply the hot water bath and warming the affected part with hot water at 44 degrees Celsius temperature for about 20 minutes. So with this hot water bag, we need to apply the hot water bag at least for 20 minutes wherever the areas are affecting. And intake of hot fluids enhances the rewarming of the body. So continuous hot fluids we need to do so that it will enhance the temperature in the body. This is the treatment for the frostbite, which is the effect of low temperature on the body. And next thing is trench foot or immersion. So this immersion is nothing but local cold injury may occur at the temperature above freezing, wet to cold conditions. In the work environment, the emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere is increased. A major constituent of emission of carbon dioxide is from the combustion of fossil fuels. It affects the global surface temperature with increase of 3 degrees Celsius by the year 2030. A rise in the sea level of 0.1 to 0.3 meters by 2050, and an increase in the occurrence of extreme climatic events such as cyclones, heat waves, and famines and droughts. So what is this trench foot or immersion is nothing but this is a prediction. What they're saying is it is a local cold injury may occur at temperature above freezing point. So this frostbite is occurring below the freezing point. This immersion is the effect on the health of the individual, which will occur above the freezing point. Okay, so which is nothing but it is a prediction. By 2030, there may be chances of this effect of globally effect of this temperature upon the earth. And by 2050, there are more chances to get these cyclones and heat waves. It is a prediction, okay? Just you can remember, like immersion is one of the effect which is occurring above the freezing point. Just you can remember like that. So this is also one of the effect of low temperature upon the individuals. So this is all about the sunlight and temperature and effect on the individual. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So now, so up to now we have seen like in the climate about the sunlight we have seen, right? See. And now external temperature variations also we have seen. Sunlight we have seen and like external temperature variations. High temperature, low temperature, both we have seen under the temperature variations. Now next one is atmospheric pressure. So let us see within the climate how this atmospheric pressure will be there and like how this atmospheric pressure is affecting on the individual. So let me explain about what is atmospheric pressure. So the atmospheric pressure at the surface close to the sea level averages is 760 mm of Hg. This is called one atmospheric pressure. Man is physiologically adapted to live at 760 mm of Hg pressure or close to it. The pressure increased at the rate of 1 atmospheric per each 33 feet depth below the sea level. So this atmospheric pressure is nothing but a pressure is maintained in our environment which is 760 mm of Hg. In this pressure only, in this atmospheric pressure only, we are adapted to live. So when we go into the deep sea levels, the pressure will be decreasing. So atmospheric pressure is nothing but a pressure maintained within the environment upon the earth. The normal atmospheric pressure where the man is physiologically adapted is 760 mm of Hg. So the instrument used for measuring this atmospheric pressure are known as barometers, and barometers are of 3 types. So for measuring this atmospheric pressure, we are using a barometer, and under the barometer also 3 types of barometers are there. First one is Porteous barometer, next one is Keewatin station barometer, and the third one is barograph. These 3 are the meters which are useful to measure the atmospheric pressure. The atmospheric pressure is inversely proportional to altitude. If atmospheric pressure falls, the altitude increases, the pressure rises, and altitude decreases. So here you need to remember one formula, like atmospheric pressure means the pressure of the environment is inversely proportional to the altitude. Inversely proportional to the altitude in the sense, altitude is nothing but, in simply we can say, opposite to the atmospheric pressure. So this atmospheric pressure is inversely proportional, or see here, like no need to get confused. Directly proportional means always equal, this altitude and atmospheric pressure. Here inversely proportional means opposite to each other. Whenever the atmospheric pressure increases, this altitude will get decreased, and whenever the altitude like atmospheric pressure decreases, this altitude will rises. That is how oppositely this both will function. So just remember this point, this atmospheric pressure is inversely proportional to the altitude. That's enough. And for checking of this atmospheric pressure, we are having three barometers, like Fortin's barometer, Hui pattern barometer, Q pattern station barometer, and barograph. These three are the barometers which are useful to check the atmospheric pressure. And now let us see how this atmospheric pressure is affecting on the individual's health. So effect of low atmospheric pressure on the body. So what is the normal atmospheric pressure? What is the normal, or where at what atmospheric pressure the human being can be stable? Just now we have studied, no?
Ma'am, 760 mm of Hg.
Very good. So at 760 mm of Hg, the individual is adapted to live at that atmospheric pressure. So when the atmospheric pressure falls, then the normal. Like if the atmospheric pressure is decreasing below the 760 mm of Hg, then the individual may face this tachypnea, elevated hemoglobin concentration, and increased cardiac output also. Okay. So that is how these are the effects of atmospheric pressure on the individual. And now here they are explaining about altitude also. Altitude is also considered as high altitude and low altitude. In high altitudes, the atmospheric pressure is less. At an altitude of 1 lakh feet above mean sea level, the atmospheric pressure is less than 10 mm of Hg. So as I already said, this atmospheric pressure is inversely proportional to the altitude. So here in the high altitude areas, what will happen? The atmospheric pressure will be low. And the same way in low altitude areas, the atmospheric pressure will be high. So like at an altitude of 1 lakh feet above mean sea level, the atmospheric pressure will be very less. See, this altitude is like 1 lakh above feet. At that time, the atmospheric pressure will be low. And in the same way, the air has low density of high altitudes and partial pressure of oxygen is also less. Man cannot survive at an altitude of 25,000 feet without breathing devices. So when we go into the deep of the sea level, there this high altitude levels can be seen. That is why without any breathing devices, we cannot survive in the very like deep in the sea level, where there we can see high altitudes and low atmospheric pressure also. So man is adapted to live at the 760 mm of Hg. So here 10 mm of Hg is present deep in the sea level. So that's why we cannot survive deep inside the sea without the breathing devices. So how this altitude will affect on the individual's health means two conditions that affect the man due to sudden exposure to high altitude: acute mountain sickness, and it is a common and harmless condition which is characterized by the headache, insomnia, dyspnea, nausea, vomiting, and impaired vision. We can see these effects: insomnia, dyspnea, nausea, vomiting, and impaired vision will be there. due to high altitude, and also high altitude pulmonary edema also can be seen. It is rare below 1200 feet sea level. Pulmonary edema also can be seen due to high altitude, and also the symptoms generally appear to the on the third day of high altitude, but as pulmonary edema develops, the individual develops a cough, irregular Cheney stroke breathing, oliguria, confusion, hallucination, seizures, stupor, and at last coma also. So Cheney stroke breathing is nothing but for two breaths, like they will continuously breathe and they will continuously like for two breaths, sudden cessation of the breathing. Again for two breaths, sudden cessation of the breathing. Like that breathing will be there. Especially this Cheney stroke breathing is nothing but like a dog respiration will be there, no? That is called as Cheney stroke breathing. Like that breathing will be occur due to these high altitudes. These are the some effects of high altitudes on the individual. The same way, low altitude will also affect on the individual, like loss of mental confusion, excess of carbon dioxide levels will increases the narcotic action of nitrogen, and excess of oxygen leads to convulsions and death also in low due to these low altitudes. Just have an idea, altitudes and atmospheric pressure both will affect the individual. Just have an idea, that's enough in the climate. And next thing is humidity. So humidity means you all know, humidity is the amount of moisture in the air. The amount of moisture is considered as humidity. The amount of moisture depends upon its temperature. If the air is cool, the excess of moisture precipitates for the particular temperature. Two kinds of humidity is present. See, humidity is the moisture which is present in the air. Here, two kinds of humidity is there, absolute humidity and relative humidity. If the weight of the water vapor, it is the weight of water vapor in a unit volume of air. The units of measurements is gram per kilogram or grams per cubic meter of air. So absolute humidity is what? Weight of water vapor in a unit volume of air. So how much amount of water vapors are there in a unit volume of air, that is considered as absolute humidity. So moisture means what? Water vapors only, no? Amount of water vapors in a unit volume of air considered as absolute humidity, and relative humidity is considered as it is the percentage of moisture present in the air. In the total air, how much percentage of moisture is there? That is the relative humidity. The increase in relative humidity, the nearer the air to saturation. The complete saturation is considered as 100. You all know. Relative humidity is commonly employed than absolute humidity to express the moisture content of air. If RH increases beyond 65%, the air inside the room feels sticky and uncomfortable. If relative humidity is less than 30%, shows unpleasant environment in the room. So here moisture is also affecting, which is nothing but relative humidity is also affecting on the environment. Like when we see 65%, the air inside the rooms feels sticky, and as well as 30% in the room will feel unpleasant. It means that should be maintained very normal. Not should be above like beyond the 65, and like it should not be below the 30 also. Between them, this humidity should be maintained. And various instruments are used to measure the humidity. Few of them are dry and wet bulb hygrometer, sling psychrometer, and Assmann psychrometer. These three are the meters which are useful to check the humidity. So just have an idea. If you are having book means, just remembering the name is enough about the humidity. So here next thing is communication, infrastructure, facilities and linkages. So here communication is a basic instinct of life and fundamental social interaction process. The role of information and communication technology in human development has become reality with the rapid strides taken by the nation in this field and in space science. So communication means you all know now interacting with the people. So here some definition they are also given. Communication is a process of exchanging the information, feelings, ideas, thoughts, facts from one person to another person. You all know in CET also you will come to know. So communication is the basic component of all community health activities. So why they have included this community in the this communication in the community means for all the healthcare facilities to enhance all the healthcare activities in the community, this this communication is very much essential. So here some importance of communication infrastructure and linkage is also given. So to communicate, the communications infrastructure provides an expansion of choices available to individuals and to society to enable them to lead, fulfill, and improve the lives. So here, this communication is about the infrastructure and infrastructure facilities and linkages. Like in order to maintain a good health and also in order to improve the quality of health within the individual, what all facilities are provided by the government or what all facilities are present in the rural areas and in urban areas. Uh, that is how communication is essential, and what all linkages are there, how they are helpful, through which components we can communicate from one person to another person or from one group to another group. All these things are present in the communication of infrastructure facilities and linkages. So this is the one point. Communication about the infrastructure provides the information, and information and communication technology have become a vital organ of knowledge society in which people live. So information and communication technology, ICT. Nowadays, many ICT programs are developed in the rural and urban areas also to improve the quality of the life and also to improve the like accessibility of the information within the individuals. You see here. By this communication, it develops the accessibility of information and resources to enhance the quality of life. With communication only, we can come to know the importance of the thing and we will follow it. So by that, quality of the life will be improved. That is also one of the importance. And information communication technology has ability to reach every nook and corner in India of their amazing ability to penetrate every kind of services and need of human beings. So by this communication only, we can go to the every corner, every village, every home to home, and we can find out where what are all aspects needed to improve. And by communication, they can gain the knowledge about what all aspects are going on. That is also one of the importance. And the new ways of communication, that is telephone, mobiles, internet, emails, changing the way of people communicate and way they go out about their business or their jobs. The issues of access and usage are creating their own class structure. India is witnessing fast development of communication infrastructure and services available. Communication infrastructure also plays a critical role in enhancing social and economic quality along with the growth. So here you all know this point. By emails, phone, telephone communication, by the internet, lot of communication facilities are available within our government, within our India. You can see also, now if we want seat in any college or in any course, means everything is very online. And nowadays, every exam is conducted in the online. By that only we can understand how the people is developing and how this communication is enhancing and how communication is playing a vital role within the society, and social and economic quality of the individuals is also developing by this communication. And infrastructure for communication in India is this post and telegraphs, telephones, and combination of computers and telephones are also present. So this is all about the information communication and telephone infrastructure. Very, very general things are there in your community. In your community. So when you go through them, you can understand. When very generally, you can also write. Okay, no need of much explanation for this communication also. Able to follow my community classes, others, everyone. So that is all about today climate and communication. Any doubts are there? Any doubts are there?
No, ma'am.